No, actually, this is my first game jam. Heck yeah, that's awesome. Jams can be a totally just super fun. Yeah, I'm super excited for it, but I'm really not sure how to actually get into the jam myself. I've made games before, but the idea of, you know, doing a short 72-hour thing, that sounds a little crazy. Well, there's definitely a lot of tips that I can give you to get started in the Ludum Dare. The first one would be maybe consider not starting on your game right away. A lot of times you might be tempted at the beginning of the jam to get the theme and immediately just start hammering on your game. But maybe it's best that you start to take the first couple hours just to brainstorm without actually starting any programming. This lets your brain kind of chew on the theme and come up with something potentially more interesting than if you just kind of spat out whatever the first thing is and just started hammering on it. Next, you're going to hear this a lot, but keep your scale extremely small. Your goal with your first Ludum Dare or your first game jam is going to be to keep the scale small so that you can actually finish it. A lot of people will say this next one a little differently depending on the person. You'll hear people say, you know, take whatever your scope is and cut it in half and then cut it in half again or something like that. My rule of thumb would be something like take any feature, estimate how long you think it's going to take, and then take that number and double it. Now, granted, if you do finish the feature in that amount of time, that's awesome, and you have a bunch of extra time that you can put into something down the road. But if you run into problems, having that extra buffer is going to really help you avoid running over over time and then having to pivot or scrap features down the road. The next one is actually just don't worry necessarily if you're going to finish or not, right? Don't think of not finishing as failure. Instead, think of it as a learning opportunity for you to figure out what your plan of attack is. Look at what you did and figure out what your plan of attack is for your next Ludum Dare. Some other things that aren't directly related to the development of your game are things that you may not have thought of. Make sure you take care of yourself. It's really, really easy for you to push yourself too hard because you don't really know your limits yet. Or if you're just neglecting yourself, you have to make sure you eat, sleep, drink. These things are necessary for you to, be healthy, and ignoring these things will just cause more damage to your project than you probably even think they will. Don't play video games. For the love of God, don't do it. You think it's a good idea. You're like, oh, I'm only going to play for, I'm going to play one round. I'm only going to, play for a half hour, 45 minutes, whatever. But you don't realize the kind of impact that has on your focus. Yes, you're only playing for 45 minutes, but your focus is gone for the next 6 hours. Okay. Just seriously don't. Anyway, have you considered the tools you're going to use for the jam? Or have you considered the game dev process? Have you figured out what your personal process is going to be?